Hey you, and welcome to lesson 18. Today we are gonna learn more about adverbs of frequency, especially the definite adverbs of frequency and reflexive pronouns. Also, we'll learn some really cool phrases and daily English expressions that you can use in your daily conversation. So are you ready? Then let's get to it. So let's begin with adverbs of frequency. We talked about adverbs of frequency. Remember, always, sometimes, often, usually, normally. Today we will talk about the other type of frequency adverbs. The first type of adverb of frequency, as you already know, always, usually, often, okay? We usually go swimming on Sunday or on Saturday. I have often helped my mom, and so on. These are called indefinite adverbs of frequency. Today we'll talk about the definite adverbs of frequency. The definite adverbs of frequency are these: hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, every second, once a month, twice a year, once or twice, three times. We can also say thrice for three times. Okay, so how do we use those? Adverbs of definite frequency, like all adverbs of definite times, typically go in the end of the sentence. So look at these examples. Most companies pay taxes yearly. The manager checks the toilets every hour. The directors meet weekly to review progress. So they normally go at the end, but they could also go in the middle if we have additional information to add. Yearly means once a year. Every hour, obviously, once an hour. And weekly means once a week. Adverbs of indefinite frequency normally go mid-position, a little bit different than definite adverbs. Okay, like we usually go shopping. I have often done that. She is always late. Occasionally, sometimes, often, frequently are all indefinite adverbs of frequency. Sometimes they come and stay with us. Sometimes goes in the beginning, okay? Sometimes actually can go anywhere, depending on the sentence. We can say sometimes they come and stay with us. They stay with us sometimes. We can use it at the beginning. We can use it at the end. Sometimes we can use it in the middle. So sometimes is different. Rarely and seldom can also go at the end of the sentence. We see them rarely. Rarely it means like 10% of times. It means not often. John eats meat very seldom. Again, seldom and rarely are basically the same thing. So now let's talk about today's main lesson. It is reflexive pronouns. What are reflexive pronouns? Reflexive pronouns are basically objects. They are the direct object if the subject and the objects is the same person, okay? What does that mean? You see, let's take a look at this example, for example. I fell over and hurt myself. I, okay? The subject and the object is the same. It's the same person. I fell over and hurt myself, okay? So reflexive pronouns can be used as direct object. What are reflexive pronouns? They come in singular form and plural form. Myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself. So basically, if the subject is I, then we use myself. If it's you, then yourself. If it's he, then himself. If it's she, then herself. If it's it, then this is too big. All right, let me do this better. Okay, so I, you, he, she, it. Okay? Our, it's we. Your, you. Themselves is they. We use you twice, as always, because we have one in singular form and one in plural form. Okay, so basically, it's very easy to use as long as the subject is the object. Let's take a look at the following. We can use reflexive pronouns as direct object with most verbs, but these are the most common verbs that we use reflexive pronouns with: amuse, blame, cut, dry, enjoy, help, hurt, introduce, kill, prepare, satisfy, teach. We don't use reflexive pronouns after verbs which describe things people usually do by themselves. Okay? What does that mean? For example, if I say he washed in cold water, he washed or he showered in cold water, I'm not going to say he showered himself in cold water, because these are things people usually for themselves and by themselves. So we don't need to use reflexive pronouns as direct object in this case. He always shaves before going in the evening. We don't say he always shaves himself before going out in the evening, because that will just sound weird, right? Michael dressed and got ready for the party. We're not gonna say Michael dressed himself, right? Of course he dressed himself. Who else is dressing Michael? He's not the King of England, so nobody's dressing him. He's dressing himself. We all dress ourselves, apparently. Okay, we only use reflexive pronouns with these verbs for emphasis. What does that mean? What's emphasis? Emphasis, if you want to draw more attention to something, to emphasize a point, it means to stress a point. He dressed himself in spite of his injuries. Now you see this is a little bit different. Not he dressed himself to go out, he got dressed to go out. But here we have a reason that will prevent him from dressing himself, and that is an injury. He's hurt, he can't move, and yet he dressed himself. So, well done, him. He dressed himself in spite of his injuries. Another thing I'd like to point out here before we move on, in spite of. In spite of, what does that mean? In spite of is, we have a group of words that basically mean the same thing. In spite of, or despite, although, though, there are more. In spite of, despite, although, though. Okay, anyways, they all mean the same thing. It means doing something against the odds. Okay, like in spite of being sick, he went to work. Or although he was sick, he went to work. Or she bought an expensive car though she was broke and couldn't make the payments. So this is to show that something happened in spite of something else. Okay, he dressed himself, so this one is here. Okay, he dressed himself in spite of his injuries. She's old enough to wash herself. She's old enough to wash herself. Not she has a shower herself. She has a shower herself. This is not right, because she just showers. You can say she showers, or she has a shower every morning. But she is old enough to wash herself. This is to emphasize a point that she is of an age that she'll be able to shower by herself. Preposition by with with reflexive pronouns is to show that someone did something without any help, okay? To show that someone did something all alone. The children got dressed by themselves. The children got dressed by themselves. I prepared the whole meal by myself. I closed the store on Saturday myself. Jack made his supper himself. That is to show that you did something all alone without receiving help from anyone else. Well done. Read the following examples and pay attention to the reflexive pronouns. I don't need your help while I can do it myself. I cut myself when I was shaving. She blames herself for that incident. Don't hurt yourself by playing carelessly. We have enjoyed ourselves. So you can see here, we used the reflexive pronoun. The object and the subject are the same person. I cut myself when I was shaving. She blamed herself. Don't hurt yourself. We enjoyed ourselves. You boys should make it yourselves. Don't blame yourself for this. What's the meaning of blame? Blame, it means you keep telling yourself, oh, it was my fault, I was wrong, I shouldn't have done that. You know, that is blaming yourself. I love myself. He spoke to himself in front of the mirror. He's crazy, but we all are, don't we? I mean, admit it. You spoke to yourself in front of the mirror. You always do. We all do. It's crazy. Don't tell anybody that you do it, but do it. It's good. The refrigerator defrosts itself. Defrost, it means it melts the ice. She is ashamed of herself for her deeds. Ashamed, it means something that it's embarrassing to you. Okay? So she embarrassed herself, or she ashamed herself by her deeds. Deeds, it means the things she did. Okay? Exercise. Please complete. Please be careful with that knife. You'll hurt yourself. You are right. I know you would have guessed it. Let's change the color. Ron's parents blamed when he went to prison. So is it he? No, it's not he. He is not the subject. What is the subject? The subject is Ron's parents. So it's plural. Ron's parents, that means themselves. Ron's parents blamed themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, you must prepare for some bad news. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the subject. So what is the object? Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, you must prepare yourselves. Now, what is the difference between this one? What's the difference between this one and this one? Why did we say themselves here and yourselves here? Let me tell you. Here, when we said Ron parents, okay, we are talking about a third person. We're not talking directly to Ron parents. We're talking about Ron parents, and they're not here. So we say themselves because the subject here will be they. While, in the next example, ladies and gentlemen, I am addressing the crowd in front of me. So I'm talking directly to those people. That means the subject here will be you. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys. Okay? So that's why we use themselves here, and here we use yourselves. Now let's take a look at the most common errors people make with reflexive pronouns. The most common errors are made when the subject is a compound subject. Now, what is a compound subject? A compound subject is when you have more than one person as the subject. Let's take a look at this. Andrew and myself will go shopping today. This is absolutely wrong. Why is it wrong? Because the correct one is, how do we know that myself does not belong as part of the compound subject? Andrew and the speaker in this sentence. Remove Andrew from the equation to see if what remains function correctly. So, let's see. If we remove Andrew, that we will be left with myself will go shopping. And that is clearly wrong because the subject is I. I will go shopping. Okay, this is the correct way to make a sentence because I is the subject. You cannot say Andrew and myself will go shopping, but you can say Andrew and I will go shopping. So the correct one is, you can either say I will go shopping, that's fine, if you remove Andrew, but if you want to include Andrew to make the sentence correct and have a compound subject, then you will say Andrew and I will go shopping. Because it has to function both ways. Whether we remove Andrew, the compound subject, the sentence still has to be correct. If we say Andrew and myself will go shopping and we remove Andrew, that we will be left with myself will go shopping, and that is just wrong. So we have to say Andrew and I will go shopping. Okay, let's take a look at this. Another example, you may talk to me, you may talk to Mr. Martin or myself. Okay, now this is another mistake. Same way, let's remove Mr. Martin and just keep the other part of the sentence. So let's remove Mr. Martin and keep, you may talk to myself if you need anything. Does that sound right? No, it doesn't. Because here, myself should have been the object pronoun. So the correct one is, you may talk to me if you need anything. You is the subject, may talk to me if you need anything. So the correct sentence will be, you may talk to me if you need anything. Now, if we want to add Mr. Martin to the equation, that's fine. We just add Mr. Martin without changing the object. So it will be, you may talk to Mr. Martin or me if you need anything. Now, let's take a look at some common expressions. Get along, hang out, big fan of, grab a bite. To be honest, all right? Those are very common expressions in the English language. I'll try to teach you as many common expressions as possible in this course, and I will load the next course with even more common expression and phrases. This will help your conversational skills, and it will help you sound more fluent and understand English much better, because these expressions are pretty much used every day. Get along, what does that mean? Get along, it means to live, work, or play with someone without any problems. Okay, so if you get along with someone, you are friendly with that person. You have a good relationship with that someone. You don't argue or have a lot of problems with that person. That means get along, okay? So let's take a look at some examples. I am glad you finally got to meet my brother. I knew you two would get along. That means I knew you two would have a good relationship because, you know, you both are nice. Or weird. Maybe they both are weird, that's why they are good friends. My grandparents have been married for over 50 years and they still get along. It means they still don't have problems. Good for them. He is very easygoing. He gets along with everybody. He gets along with everybody. It means he is friends with everybody. Tom and his sister don't get along. They're always fighting. It's obvious. Next expression is hang out. What does that mean, to hang out? It means to spend time in a place or spend the place with someone. So you can hang out somewhere or you can hang out with someone. Let's look at some examples. We're going to hang out at Jess's house this afternoon. So we're going to go spend time at Jess's house. I'm free this weekend. Do you want to hang out? It means you want to get together and do things, spend time together. She hangs out with her friends in the evening. It means she spends time with her friends in the evening. I wish I can find new friends to hang out with. It means I want to find new friends to spend time with. Next expression is big fan of. If you're a big fan of something, that means you like it very much. We can also say huge fan of. We can also use it in the negative. If we say, I'm not a big fan of, it means I don't like it. I really don't like it. If you say, I'm a big fan of, that means I really like it. I am an admirer of. So let's take a look at some examples. I like movies, but I'm not a big fan of science fiction. It means I like movies, I really do, but I don't really like science fiction movies. I'm a big fan of Chinese food. It means I really love Chinese food. I'm a big fan of, I'm a big supporter of Chinese food. This is true. She is not a big fan of jogging. Not a big fan of. She doesn't like jogging. I don't blame her. We are huge fans of soccer. It means football. All right, last expression today, no, the one before the last is grab a bite. Grab a bite, it means to get something to eat quickly or in a hurry. You know, from bite, when you eat. We are in a hurry to get there, so we'll just grab a bite to eat at the fast food place. I'll leave as soon as I grab a bite. It means I'll just eat real quick and then I'll leave. We are going to grab a bite. We are going to grab a bite at the new fast food place. We are missing an E here. We're going to grab a bite at the new fast food place. It means you're just going to go eat there real quick. Last expression today is to be honest with. It means to be truthful with you or to be sincere with you or to tell you the truth. We always use this expression, to be honest with. So let's take a look. Okay, so you can use to be honest with. You can use to be honest with before or after a statement to indicate that you are telling the truth about your own opinions or feelings, especially if you think these opinions will disappoint the person you're talking to. You know they're not going to like it. So this is, normally you would start with to be honest with you, okay? You always expect bad news because you know they're not going to tell you something you like. Do you understand? So this is how it's used. So you said, to be honest with you, your show was not that great. Okay, you know that they're not going to like the news. That's why we try to expect it. Once you hear, to be honest with you, expect to hear something that will disappoint you. So let's see. To be honest, I don't think they will get better. They're just going to get worse. Ouch. To be honest, I think it's not going to work out. Not going to work out, it means it's just an expression to say it's not going to work. It means this is not going to happen. She scares me, to be honest. She scares me too. To be honest, no one liked him at the office. So as you can see, we use this to be frank or sincere or to tell the truth about something you know that the other person is not going to like to hear. Okay, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Be sure to take the quiz and I'll see you next class. Have a good one.